I think one of the smartest things I ever did was really to leave Austria and just go, go into Juilliard and take that risk to go to a different country with a different language, with different culture, not knowing where it's going to take you. So that was a great decision. And then the second one was to leave Juilliard because opportunities were there to start a career. And there was no point for me to stay and learn more of something that I may not need in a career, at least for me. So I think decision making is that one stubbornness, being stubborn. Is it smart? I don't consider it smart at all times, but I think your spirit is much smarter than you are in your brain. So that's why it sort of sounds phony to like, okay, the spirit guides me to this or there, but I think this really happens, that you make your smart decisions not from your brain, but they come from your guts. It's like, just doesn't feel right and I just need to go there. That's the place I need to be. And so when I got the opportunity to work with Momix, I just stuck to it. I called him up, called Moses a lot to, okay, you need me in your company. So, okay. So anyway, that was one of the best decisions I made. Cirque du Soleil sort of happened again. It was a great decision, of course, to go there. But then in the middle, about 2002, I said, oh, I need to do something else. And I really wanted to learn how it would be to be an actor, not use my dance skill, but be an actor. And I think that was a very smart decision on my part, especially coming from a different language background, to learn the Shakespearean language. So I learned how to play Puck in Midsummer Night's Dream, and which helped me for another gig. There was a third Cirque show that I created a character for, and they looked at Mario. And they said, oh, he can speak, so he can do more things than being a movement and dancing. So I got that part to be in that arena show, and I thought that, and to this day I think was one of the more smarter things I did, is learn how to act. And when the times get tough, it's a place that nobody wants to be. I experienced it a few times now in this lovely life, that we so very high up with our career, and we get the best audiences, we on tour, we perform, people write about you in the newspaper, you do TV interviews, you do a movie, and then those things, but they pass. And then you back home, it's like, who am I? And it's like, okay, I'm nobody, nobody's calling me, I don't have a gig right now. So you're really so much identified with what you do and with your work. And that vulnerability that hurts so much when you work is also the same vulnerability that makes us so strong on stage as performers. So my place to go when I'm in that down place, I have a few things I will go to. I like to read books and books about spiritual teaching from Deepak Chopra, and Buddhist books, and books about yoga and meditation. And so I learned a form of Tai Chi. I still do that. Again, right now, I do a lot of yoga every day. It's sort of also not just a way of keeping your spirit up, but also maintaining myself physically. Again, I will never retire, even until I'm 80, and hopefully I'm going to die on stage. But one of the things I'm very lucky at is that my first instrument was, my first name was piano, but my instrument was a classical guitar, and I still have it with me. So with my friend that's with me at all times, that I go to when I don't have a place to perform, but also right on a show. When I go on tour, I bring the guitar with me. When I wake up, I'll play it, and it's sort of different kinds of dance because you're dancing with your fingers, so it's not too far away from the dance I see. So music is definitely a place where I will go when I'm down. What inspires me is can come from many different directions. This can come from a painting, can come from a musical piece, can be from watching other performers, dancers. Nowadays, I would grace YouTube for hours and hours, and just find things. And I have a big collection. I have a big YouTube collection now at home that I download the YouTube videos or any pictures I find, like Google Images that I find. But in the Juilliard days, it was more, you know, you have a book of art. So Paul Klee was one of them that I loved. And especially going to the Museum of Modern Art was a big inspiration for me. I got a card, and there was days where maybe I went every day to just look at paintings and got inspired by them. And there was at the time, like dances we would not know nowadays from the 1920s or 30s. I thought, wow, this is interesting movement I want to see. So sometimes you only can see pictures of somebody who passed away a long time ago that are really inspiring. Just one picture. Sometimes I get inspired by objects. I had a box sitting in my garage for about 2 years, and I looked at that box and was like, that lid that moves this way and that way, that could make a really nice Jack-in-the-Box dance. And so I got in the garage, as I always do, and found some interesting music that fit with that, and I created a piece with that. So I was actually in the Santa Monica Pier, saw these posts that go out. And it's like, oh, that'd be interesting to work with that. So objects could be very inspiring to me to work with. And then just looking at people, and again, it can be a mime I'm watching, it can be a dancer, it can be a musician, it can be a show. A long time ago, it was Meredith Monk. I just thought it was really interesting, the minimalist movement with, you know, Philip Glass and all these people, and I thought it was fantastic. So I got inspired by that. Koyanis Gatsi, I think he did that. And I think there's so many different ways, and you don't know where they come from, where they hit you. At some point, a long time ago, I would watch deer jumping in the grass. It's like, wow, I was observing the way that the animals were moving, so I got inspired by that. So I think that the inspirations are just really endless, and the directions too, where they can come from. But mainly, if I see other performers that are inspired in what they do on stage, that's always the best treat for inspiration.